folks. Welcome back. Another edition, Handicap Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jay-Z Sports. And what a weekend it was, folks. Super Bowl, Waste Management Phoenix Open, sports like crazy. Just a really, really good weekend of sports, and we're all here for you. We're here to recap it all. We're here to recap the Super Bowl, Waste Management, give a little preview into this week's tournament at good old Riv. I know we have a lot of insight from yours truly in the middle, Ronnie Cap, since he's played this track multiple times. But out of the gate, folks, Monday night, how we doing? How we feeling? Super Bowl hangover. How we feeling today? How are we?
No hangover here. Had a as Johnny would say, I had a good book. Is that how you call it, John?
This guy Ronnie Cap couldn't miss a bet yesterday. We'll get into that as well.
So it was a heck of a day from that standpoint. The game I liked the way the game ended up, and no complaints.
JK?
No more football. Football's over. It's golf season.
Absolutely love to hear it.
Officially golf season.
Year after year, I'm never really that excited for the Super Bowl because it just means the end of football. Like the whole Super Bowl party thing. Not a fan of the whole Super Bowl party. You never really could watch the game. I was dialed in. I was very low key at my crib, but we're gonna get into the game. We're gonna get into everything. We're gonna get into everything from the no call to how bad the turf was, to everything in between. But I think we need to start off on the no call because I think that was the biggest part of the game. That's what's being talked about the most. I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts. Think it was a good call? Did you think they should have let him play on? Because that pretty much was the fate of the game. Pretty much at that time, the Chiefs all they had to do was, get a first down, need the ball, and you got a field goal for the win. I want to hear your thoughts, Ronnie Cap, out of the gate.
So it was they shouldn't have called it under the circumstances. It was a hold. The guy, what's his name? He admitted that it was a hold.
Bradbury.
But here's the thing. Just think about it for a second. You have about 30 guys on the sidelines dressed in street clothes. They're called coaches. The next play, right after that, they're right after the holding call and the first down. They knew the game was toast. They're basically saying score, so we have a chance to tie the game. But intelligently, they laid down and they waited, let the clock run out, and they kicked the field goal, a chip shot. But here's the thing: you have all these guys. They needed to walk back on that field after that timeout with one thing in mind. The worst thing you could do is commit a penalty, because you commit a penalty, it's worse than giving up a score, worse than giving up a touchdown. You commit a penalty, the game is over, and that's what happened. So I don't know if they gave instructions, but I will say this: you watch all these morning shows, and you hear things. No one talks about that. Everyone just talks about the call, how the call is horrible. But at the end of the day, that it's no different than you're up by 3 or whatever in a basketball game, and what do you say? The coach, don't foul. Whatever you do, don't foul. And it's the same thing here. I don't know what instructions they gave these guys, whether it was an offsides, a holding, an illegal contact, whatever it was going to cost you the game. And it was a hold. He grabbed his jersey, and listen, that's the way it is. But it kind of stinks for KC. They moved on both weeks as a result of a call to some extent. And but who cares? They're the Super Bowl champs. They deserve it. They played a good game.
Yeah. No. That call. So I know where you're coming from on that, Dad. And when you say they should instruct them not to don't commit a penalty, when the Eagles are coming on the field right there, though, and this is almost how good Andy Reid and the Chiefs are. When the Eagles are coming on the field, they're not thinking in hell that they're going to be throwing the football almost. Maybe they would. I don't know. They're the Chiefs. But it's just like he just made a quick move, and Bradbury kind of hooked him. Like I said, I see that as a 50-50 type of call. I say can't blame the refs for making the call, and I also say can't blame the refs that they didn't make the call. But guess what? They made the call. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs benefited in that, and they gave up 38 points at the end of the day. What are you going to do? You gave up 38 points. The second half of that game, the Chiefs had 4 times, 4 scores. That's football by the Chiefs against a defense a lot of people have thought has been one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL all year. The Chiefs gave it to them in the second half. Both Chiefs touchdowns in the second half were the same exact play on opposite sides of the field. That's all Bieniemy, all Andy Reid, and Andy Reid gave credit to Bieniemy in his post game.
That's all he was talking about.
He was talking about 3 things, I should say. Mahomes, Bieniemy, O-line. That's all Andy Reid was talking about. And give it up to Andy Reid. They coached a hell of a second half, and I think too many people are talking about the refs and that call, and not enough people are talking about how great Mahomes is and how great the Chiefs are. I mean, Mahomes, his numbers don't show how good he played.
Well, he barely touched the field in the first half. He had 3 touchdowns, and he had he had under 200 yards passing.
Imagine someone telling you before the game the Chiefs are putting up 38, and Mahomes throws for 82 yards.
Crazy.
But
yeah.
Andy
Reid, though, that's the key right there. I agree with you, Johnny boy.
That's where it is, and the whole team, and Hurts played probably one of the games of his life. He played. It wasn't just his running. He was making some great throws too. He did throw a couple of lollipops up in the air downfield that could have got picked, but besides that, he played a hell of a game. And I still will say this: I think Sirianni's a hell of a coach, and we can talk about this. You'll probably talk about this every Eagles game. You can talk about this year. That QB sneak is the most unstoppable play in football. I'm excited to see what happens next year, because I think Kelsey's going to retire, the center, Kelsey on the Eagles, and he is the stirring pot of that whole play. How good! Yeah, I'm excited to see how that works next year. But I mean, that play was unstoppable. Hurts, man. QB's played great games.
The Eagles obviously have a lot of reconstructing to do, and that's one of the biggest things. But I think one of the major things is that Hurts fumble. You cannot make that mistake in that point in time in the game. That Hurts fumble.
Yeah.
Who's talking? Like you can't make that play.
Well, what was that? Was that fourth down?
What was that down?
The Hurts play?
What happened is there was they called a penalty, a false start. It was I think it was 4th and 1, then it was 4th and 6.
No,
I'm wondering if they ever thought it was third down.
It was 3rd and 1.
Okay,
that's a third.
Gotcha.
In the 3rd and 1, they were in the QB sneak formation.
Yeah, of course. Very, very impressive. And the coach of Philadelphia he's pretty good. He's very aggressive on 4th downs. He knows how to manage it. And all of us sent a little message to each other. We were 2 weeks ago. We were talking about how he tries to draw the other team off for the going for 2 points, fake going for 2 points. If you don't get the offsides, you kick. If you get it, you do your automatic 1-yard QB sneak. That worked in the regular course of the game. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was.
He started that during the Giants game. That's where we first saw it on that field goal.
Yep, so, that's right.
Two really good coaches. Unbelievable game. But yeah, it's just in the first half, it really seemed like Philly was doing everything and anything they want. Like you said, John, pointing out to the Chiefs O-line in that second half, they were just dialed in.
Yeah.
They were dialed in, gave Mahomes all the time in the world. Mahomes, just a world-class game from Mahomes. And then him and Reid is just another breed.
Also, who in the league runs harder than Pacheco? That guy runs the ball pissed off.
Hey, our guy Ronnie Cap was all over those receiving rushing.
We had rushing and receiving, and he hit the number without 1 yard of receiving.
Pretty good.
Thankfully, in the fourth quarter, they featured him, and he picked it up. But that I felt that was I had 3 or 4 what I thought were my best bets, and they all hit. But that was certainly one of them that I thought was one of the best ones.
And your 10-pick parlay as well. What was it?
I can't talk about that one.
$95 free bet. This guy goes crazy. 10-pick parlay.
So you had but we talked about at least I talked about Devontae Smith, longest reception at 23.5. So his first one was 23, short by a half. His second one, I think that was a catch. They called it back. That was over 23.
Not a catch. You guys are on.
Oh, really?
If you think that.
All right. Well,
could have won either way.
Anytime those guys are looking at it for more than 5 minutes, you might call it the way it was called on the field. And then he did get it at the end of the game when he threw that long pass that was at the 1 yard line. The other thing was very interesting. At the last play of the game, people were saying that his shoulder was so bad he can't throw the ball more than 30 or 40 yards, so he had no chance to throw the ball into the end zone in Hail Mary. Some people think they should have put in what's his name because he can throw the ball. Yeah. Imagine if they put in Minshew for the bomb.
It's honestly not a bad point, honestly.
Yeah, that was
about that a little bit more. Interesting point.
And the over was Lock City after that first half.
That
was a good.
Way too easy. Would you go 5 for 5 on your bets, Steph?
My best bets were the over. Pacheco rushing and receiving. Devontae Smith, long reception. Kelsey touchdown. Hurts touchdown. Personally, I added one more bet to that number. I put in Mahomes more than 1.5 TD passes. I thought that was easy. That was almost like pretty close to
odds. They were like mine. It was bad odds, but good bet.
Yeah, but you put it in with 2 touchdowns, so it's not bad. Plus 300 and change. Yeah. But it was good. It was a good day, and then on top of it, I kept hearing so much during the week about Gainwell. So I jumped on that a little bit. I did it a little differently than probably the guys were predicting. I did rushing and receiving, which was a pretty low number. It was about 30 yards, and he hit that. And then I did longest rush, longest reception. They were both at 8.5, and pretty much hit those on the number. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, Gainwell was a very popular play, within bets and as well in the DFS market.
Really? But I bet you in the DFS market not so great because he just got his numbers, but he only got 30 yards.
And the one big thing was that touchdown, that the first touchdown of the game.
Yeah.
John, I know a bunch of people had Gainwell first tutter. I mean, just talk about a bad beat.
I was with a couple people.
Super Bowl.
That's a tough beat, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's
Then you had two. I certainly didn't have them, but you had 2 unreal props that actually came in with the octopus and the boink. That's pretty funny.
Big Cat and Hank were all over the boink. I didn't know any. Did you know anyone on the octopus? I didn't know one person on the octopus.
I did one person. Cat fan a shout out on that one.
What is that?
It was
plus 14
to 1.
It's unbelievable.
Also, what I had 2. I had a few crazy props. One that I got very lucky on. First touchdown, jersey number, under 11.5. Gainwell's number 14. Hurts' number, hit that one. And then first field goal, under 36.5 yards, 35 yards.
Wow. I don't even know where to find those bets.
Deep and field.
I'm sure.
Deep.
Yeah.
Deep dairy.
But yeah, I mean, hell of a season. I could definitely see the Chiefs running this thing back again next year if they keep the same coaching staff. I'm sure EB and I'm sure Andy are going to want to stay. Doesn't want to coach a guy like Mahomes.
I'll leave this to you guys. You guys are the experts. What's the story with the the offensive coordinator is I know the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs is never going to. I don't think he's going to try and be a head coach again because he failed miserably with the Rams. But he's a great defensive coordinator. He won with Parcells, and now he's winning with Andy Reid.
He also won with the Giants.
Oh, who was that with?
Spags.
The Giants.
Oh, Spags. Yeah. Oh, wasn't with Parcells. Oh, he was a Parcells.
Yeah, it wasn't with Parcells. I think it was Belichick with Parcells. But
okay, that's right.
It's a big part of the Giants' defense. Is, you know, he's unbelievable.
So is Bieniemy going to be a head coach candidate? Or
he gets looks every single year, but why do that? Once Andy Reid leaves, that's his job.
Yep.
No doubt.
I think and.
Did you see that hug he gave him? I thought he was going to take Andy Reid's neck off. It was really funny.
Jacob, I agree. A smart move for him. Hang around, be the offensive coordinator another couple of years. Andy Reid will retire, and you fall right into Mahomes. What's better than that? Honestly,
what a player's coach he must be. Yeah. I think those guys love playing for him.
Yeah,
boy.
he's
very. Cool.
He's in the conversation, like probably like a top 5, top 10 coach of all time.
Yep.
Yeah, and to do it against his former team is.
I'm happy.
I'm happy. I'm happy the Chiefs won. I'm happy Reid got one. I got another one, and I'm happy for Mahomes. I love Mahomes.
He's the best athlete on earth right now. I don't think that could be debated. Who's better?
I could have a nice segue in here. I think Scotty Scheffler might be a better athlete than him.
Best.
What a win for Scheffler.
I'll give you best American golfer for Scotty Scheffler. That's about it.
Yeah.
Best American golfer. That's not about it. That's pretty damn good. That guy, I mean, his short game is just unreal.
Yeah, his short game is amazing.
Good.
The amount of par saves, I mean, the thing with Scheffler was he gained a lot off the. You wouldn't think so, but he gained a ton off the tee. And those rounds 3 and 4, wayward driving on a lot of those holes, I thought he was done. He gained around 2 3/4 off the tee, but his tee to green game was unbelievable. Gained around 14 strokes tee to green. So, I mean, he's just too good. He's too good.
Who came in second? The Canadian. What's his name?
Nick Taylor.
An impressive guy.
Yeah, he was an amateur champion.
Yep, I know. Oh, he actually. They said I think he did when he was an amateur in the U.S. Open. He made a little noise. Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
that tournament for him is like.
And on the AT&T took down your boy Phil head to head. They kept talking about that. And his only win on the tournament, they played in the AT&T. I guess that's at just the one last week at Pebble, and he went head to he had a 1-shot lead. Everyone thought he was going to fold on the Phil, and then Phil came out with a typical +4 in his final round and lost to this kid, and it was very, very, very impressive.
When you say your boy Phil, who are you directing your boy at? I don't think anyone on this podcast.
I might need a fourth head in this screen.
Definitely not me. Definitely not me. But yeah, Waste Management, Phoenix Open, another unbelievable tournament. Just seeing the fans, the 16th hole, just the atmosphere there. It's really nothing like it, and I would really love to see a Ryder Cup to be played there. That would be unbelievable.
But Jacob, here's one thing I will say while you're on the topic of this course and this tournament. Me and a couple of my friends were talking about it. I think this is the 6th best tournament of the year. When you think of it, you got
the 4 majors
players. What comes before this? I mean,
Memorial.
It also could be the one this week coming up.
See, but from a fan perspective and a popularity perspective,
yeah,
celebrities rolling in.
You're right there.
You got it, John. I can't complain with you.
Yeah, John.
It's become just such. It's a destination, like bachelor party type of place. It's a destination boys vacation, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you don't even have to like golf.
Everyone and their mothers were there.
And it's the best thing to watch instead of watching pregame. How great is the roll right into like the national anthem.
Yeah, literally,
Right,
it was.
right off of the final day. It's really amazing.
I watched the Scheffler interview. That got done. I think Meredith came over, gave him a hug, and then I popped over to Fox, and 5 minutes was game time. It was unbelievable.
Big money for Meredith.
Oh yeah.
That was a premium event. What did he got? 4 million?
About 3.5. Same one this
Not
week
bad.
at the Riv. Another elevated event. What's up, John?
Talking about the purse and everything, good for the PGA for boosting these purses. It's great. It's good for the players. But when I think about the money one, there's one guy I think of, and that's Nick Taylor. I mean, that is life-changing money. That's a life, and the amount of FedEx Cup points. I mean, he's good for the year pretty much on the PGA. And honestly, I didn't know much about the guy, but I know we just talked about him. But hats off to Nick Taylor. I mean, we could even, Jacob, I know we could keep running down the leaderboard a little bit. I mean, JT, what a Sunday.
Yeah, big time.
I had JT top 10. I know, Dad, you hopped on him top 5, right?
Yeah, I usually like to jump in here after the cut. I was out of the country and I got back Saturday night, so it was after round 3, back when my app was working, and I went with 3 guys, mostly top 10, a little bit top 5 was Burns as my best chance, JT as my middle of the road, and I went with Hideki as a little bit of a long shot, and I to get 2 out of 3 right there is pretty good payoff. So I got, and then top 5 for JT was a bonus.
Absolutely.
So I got Jacob. You called Burns last week.
That was
I know you like to pick winners, but that would have been nice top 10 money.
Yeah, no, I had
Pre-tournament.
Yeah, I had Burns in a lot of my DFS lineups, which was huge. But going back to the Hideki thing, like if Hideki is going to give you like a T29 one week, but you ride him every week, like you can't be mad at that because you know what you're going to get out of it. Hideki every single week is going to give you good play. Didn't have his stuff today. He lost almost 5 on approach. Off the tee was nice. Around the green, didn't putt that well. I think have a big bounce back week this week at Riv.
Yeah,
knows the play.
absolutely.
It's funny you say that. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Outright.
Well, I think he's going to perform well. I'll give you my reason when you get to it, unless we're there now.
No, I have one more thing before we hop into the Genesis. Talking about the PGA Tour, a guy who probably could have took a lot of money, who probably wasn't in the best headspace. Talk about good for golf, Ricky Fowler. Good for him. I mean, he's been playing really well. I was so happy for him when he caught that top 10. Getting the top 10, the ace was awesome.
Great point, John. Great point.
Yeah,
5, but good for him.
You know also why I think Ricky, even though it's probably melted a little bit over the last few years for him, he makes so much money off the course. If he went to live, he can kiss all that goodbye. Exactly. So that probably had a lot to do with him staying, but it's a very good point. He doesn't seem the type of guy that will sell out. No. And everyone keeps talking about all the work he's doing with Harmon, Butch Harmon, and he's really turning it around. Everyone keeps saying how they think he's going to eventually win a tournament this year. Be nice
tournament honestly, Tiger's my all-time. JT is my current top guy, but right behind those two, I don't think there'd be anything that makes me happier as a golf fan than Ricky Fowler winning a tournament this year. That would be so good for golf.
Jacob, what is that? What's that logo on your shirt?
Wimbledon Championships.
Okay, got it.
John, if you're gonna, look at Ricky and maybe catch that event, I love him at the Valero. The Valero is probably after I think it's after the Honda, maybe. The Honda's after the Genesis. I could be wrong there, but I think it's a great spot at the Valero. 2021, he finished T17. Been playing well, been playing great lately. I think the Valero is going to be a good spot for him to win. But, yeah, great point on Ricky. And what I also loved after that ace, when like a player's hit a shot and then like the two guys you play with just start walking to their ball?
That was cool.
it was so cool seeing. I think Jason Day and Ricky Fowler have a really good
I
relationship.
think it was fun.
Day came all the way back, gave him a big hug, like just looked so happy for him. So that was really cool to see.
Well, Day said he could relate to Ricky because Day's
struggled.
had his struggles the last few years, and it's good to see both of those guys playing a lot better.
I like Jason Day a lot.
All right.
All right, hopping into the Genesis.
Jacob, tell me about what do you think about after you give your intro, Jacob. Tell me. I want to hear what you think of the reasoning behind Tiger getting back in the tournament. I didn't mean.
Got it. No, yeah, I like that. Genesis Invitational, Riviera Country Club, obviously second elevated event of the year. $20 million purse, about 3.5 to the winner. We'll see pretty much every eligible player on the PGA Tour this week, headlined by your top guys, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Willie Z is back. But most importantly, the 1,283rd ranked player in the world. The cat is back, baby. The cat is back. Going back to your question about why Tiger wants to play in this event, first off, it's his event. It's his invitational and tournament. The winner goes, once the winner wins, you shake Tiger's hands. I know Joaquin even last year, after he won, he says that there was one of the most special, things that's ever happened to him on the PGA Tour was shaking Tiger's hand after he won last year. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think the one main thing is this is the one tournament that he's never won. And the only way he's going to maybe contend and win is playing at a place that he's never won at. So I think those two big things, are the reason why he's coming back. And maybe it has to do something with Liv. I don't know.
It's not from a walking perspective. It's not that hard of a walk, but it's also not that easy of a walk. You have
the point.
You have about 4 or 5 holes that are nice elevation. You have 2, 7, 2 and 7 on the front. 18 is obviously all uphill on the back. So other than that, though, it's not that bad. So it's actually not a bad course for him to pick.
No, great point. Not a bad walk, but when you talk about the course itself, it's just a real true test. Tight off the tee, one of the hardest fairways to hit on the PGA Tour. Dad, you played here a lot, so you probably could attest to this. None of the holes are really straight. So when you have your ball in the fairway, there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to have to pinpoint your shot to the left of the green, to the right of the green, play outside of the sand traps and stuff like that. So really, really good elite shot makers, creative players. There's not really one stat at this course that propels someone to victory. You got to be good off the tee. Distance is only a plus. You got to be good with your irons. 150 to 200 yard buckets. Those are the big ones. And then around the green play is huge. And POA putting. This place is the lowest green and regulation percentage almost on the PGA Tour. You want to be good around the green. And I know you play really well here because you got that nice touch around the green. And I'm sure you're an elite POA putter. So
let me ask you
to that.
What are they showing as a total yardage? I know it's a short one.
I think it's total yardage is 7.322.
Oh, so it's a little longer than I thought. But you have the holes that you want to watch. Particularly, I'm going to give you 4 of them. You got number 1, it's a par 5, but it really plays like a par 4 for the pros because they can't move the tees back because the tees are basically right in front of the clubhouse.
That's 500 yards downhill, right?
But pars there feel like bogeys.
Even old guy like me can reach it in too. And then you have number 6 with the par 3 with the sand trap in the middle of the green. Tremendous hills on the green. It's amazing. And then you have number 10, which is the drivable par 4, which everyone loves. If you miss in the wrong spot, you're going to make a bogey. Mm-hmm. And then the last one to look out for, there's so many of them, but it's interesting.
Wait, can we say it on 3? I think I know what you're talking about. Can we say
which one?
I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then can we say the whole? I know which one you're talking about.
Sure.
1, 2, 3.
15.
Bang.
Why is that?
it's the very narrow dogleg light.
Right.
Right.
But last year,
you could hit it on the 17 fairway. That's what
dude,
Javi did last year. That's what Javi did last year.
You're on top of your game. As a matter of fact, this year when I was there in January, I was playing and I was asking my caddy. I was asking him what he thinks of that approach, and he goes, if you have a left pin, it makes sense. Anything other than a left pin, it doesn't make sense. So you might see a couple guys do it. It's kind of cool. It's an interesting look, and very good call, Jacob. Yeah, I'm very proud of you. One of my proudest moments of you, young lad.
Dad, I got a question for you in regards to the Riv. When you play there, I'm sure you ask caddies what's something that you do or that pros do that you might not do at the course. Is there any
break? I'll give you the first one is break par.
No.
I know. I'm kidding.
Bowls.
I'm trying to think. Well, number 10, I really can't drive it, but I know I put it in a nice spot. What do they do differently? I don't know. That's why it's such a great course. I mean, they're like number 10, 11, number 13. The drive on 13 is so demanding, and if you don't hit it, it's so hard to get it into the fairway. So you have a good shot at the green. 14 is a very great par 3. I mean, I don't think that there's what's different. The number 4 is a 220-yard par 3, and I might try to lay off on a driver, and none of the pros are hitting driver. They're hitting probably 6 irons, but that's a difference. Although this year I actually duffed a 3-wood. But then I was 115 out, and I got up and down for par. Nice. That was pretty damn good.
Up and down for par. That's the name
of
the game. PGA Tour.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to be finding a lot of par putts in between 5, 15 feet, 10 feet, that. There's going to be a lot of times where, like I said, greens to regulation percentage are very low here. You're going to need to go up and down for par. So that's why in my bettings, in my models, I'm looking at players who are really good around the green and on POA putters.
I think the other reason why Tiger may have jumped in here is I think he reached the conclusion if he wants to be competitive in majors, he needs to play a little more. Yeah. So let's see how he does. I'll give you one other thing about picking players. If you go back, I don't know, Jacob, if you have good stats in front of you on another screen. Yeah. If you look back the last 10 years, and there's at least I've always noticed this. If you look at the champions, you have Bubba won twice, I think. You had
Bubba won in 2018 and in 2016. In 2018, right. he was plus 5,000. 2016 was plus 2,500.
But you have DJ won, Dustin Johnson.
Yep.
You have Scott, I think, won once.
Adam Scott won in 2020.
And so if you think about a common thread, all these guys that I'm just named in the past, let's call it 10 years, maybe they've won the majority of the winners, they all have something else. They all have green jackets. So if you think of this,
Dad,
that's why I don't never pick a guy before the cut. The one guy since he's playing well is Hideki. That's what Hideki's got the green jacket.
You're a Hideki guy. You're a big Hideki guy. Like this over the last few weeks, I never knew. That's good insight, Jacob.
The pause.
While we're on the bets before you get into your lineups, I just looked this up. I don't know how accurate it is, but it's an article that was written today. I'm looking at odds. Tiger to miss the cut minus 205. Tiger to make the cut plus 150. Thoughts on that?
I think he'll make the cut. I think he will. I really do.
Well, so it's a hard one.
It is a hard one. So, I mean, I'm sure that those odds are pretty skewed. I'm sure if it was a real person, just a regular person,
probably minus
300.
Minus 350.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Tiger effect. It's just the reason why Tiger's the 13th most favored guy to win the Masters is because.
Yeah, I got this old school Riv hat on here from about 10 years ago. It's got the little black cord on there.
Love it.
That's right. Dad, going back to your point regarding Augusta, like one of the main things this week, and I've been reading like a lot of articles and just a lot of people that I listen to. The biggest comp course is Augusta. Not so because of like the tight fairways, the narrow dog legs, but just being just an elite shot maker and being creative and a lot of undulation here too. So that's one of the biggest things. And like you said, I'm definitely going to be looking at players who play well at Augusta and who's won the Masters. So just
I'll give you my drop Friday night. That's what I'm going to give it to you.
You're going to give us the drop at the
after the cut.
After the cut. But just going into my stats, so I'm gonna read you some stats that are very important here and how I have them weighted. And then what I'm gonna do is it's gonna come out with my 5 top golfers this week. So off the tee, the last 24, approach last 24, around the green last 24, bogey avoidance, which I think is going to be huge, driving distance, 150 to 200 approach shots, sand saves and scrambling, putting on POA and putting on inside 10 feet, top five golfers, Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Tom Kim, Colin Morikawa, number 6 is Adam Scott.
I can't believe Tom Kim is in there.
Tommy.
Well, the thing with
that can't be your lineup because it's too high of a cap.
No, that's not my lineup. But in this model, like Tom Kim is second in the field in strokes gained POA putting. He's unbelievable with his irons from 150 to 175. He's never played Riviera, but I don't think that's that big of a deal.
What are his odds to win the tournament?
Tom Kim, his DraftKings price is 8,500 to win the tournament. Tom Kim is 40 to 1.
And you said he was 4 or 5?
What do you mean?
In your ranking, you said.
In my ranking, Tom Kim is number 4.
All right, who's 5?
Colin.
What's his odds?
Colin, DK price is 9,300. Odds on Colin are 20 to 1.
So you get a lot of value for Kim
Exactly.
if you go by your system.
Yeah, John, how sick was Kim in the Booker jersey? Tom Kim D-Book.
Yeah, that was cool. Also, what was cool, Stuart Sink was wearing a Durant jersey the day of the trade. That was cool.
Yeah.
He actually, there was a story about that. How he got it. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, Dan Rappaport tweeted that out because I think Dan Rappaport texted him. Dan Rappaport's a four-play guy at Barstool, and he said, "I just got to know, how the hell did you get that jersey?" He reached out to someone in the Suns facility, and at first they said no, but then they asked another guy, and he was like, "Hell yeah!" So he just delivered it right to him at the
exactly.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But great. Waste Management was great. Super Bowl, great recap. Huge tournament this week. I'm very excited for Riviera. I know it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing to see Tiger back. And if you guys have anything else, we could close it down here. Unbelievable Monday show. Monday after Monday after Monday. Handicap Sports Podcast. Fellas, it's been another doozy. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you next week.
Great job, boys.
Later.
Peace, fellas. Great job.